Okay, this is part 2 of perspective with critters. And I wanted to talk for a minute before I close this out about detail work, cleaning things up. I talked about keeping everything light in the beginning so you could bring in and make arrangements and do quite a bit of work. Erasing, draw, erase, draw, and erase, keeping the lines real light. And then after that, you want to come in to create a portfolio piece, something you could put in a portfolio as a finished drawing. You're going to want to come back in and do some detail work. And I wanted to talk with you about, you have a couple of options. I think it's very possible to combine pencil and eraser. Pencil and pen, you can do that. You can erase areas where you come in and you may, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see that, but sort of an erase line so that the ghost kind of appears and disappears. You can freehand this after you finish if you have a real steady hand. I have freehanded this area. If you have a real steady hand, you can create a little looser effect. Something that gets away from a ruler. If you, I think, have a really steady hand. Now you don't want to start off that way and then all of a sudden suddenly go to a ruler. I'll show you what happens. It's a little, unless you can find a way to integrate the composition, combining those two. This really strong straight edge. And then you might go into it and then realize, well, I think I want to go ahead and use the straight edge all the way through. You come back in and clean up your areas. Now this is, when you run into a situation like this, it's a mistake. What are you going to do to fix it? How can you fix that? You can't erase it, you've already got your marker. You can play around with that just a little bit, and it may be incorporate that, so that you have part of the ghost is in shadow, and then part of it, and it's going to stand out a little bit more. Realize that things that are very bold and strong in contrast will come forward, and if you put lots and lots of detail work in the foreground, along with things being larger, you're going to have this create actually a deeper space. You can come back in and do all kinds of cross-hatching. You could put a shadow underneath. I would play around with that a little bit with your pencil first. I'm thinking about a floating ghost. What's going to happen here? What's that going to look like? And it has to be moved a little bit. Think about where your light source is. Light source is up here. There's a light source coming in this direction. Create some shadow work, sides of the wall. This is the plane, two planes. You've got a front and a side, so you have a shadow. You have, and then you would do the same thing with this one. This one would be in shadow, and you come in and knock that out. You can use your stump, your blending brush, if you want to get a really smooth, clean, or you can do more of a hatching mark and build it up slowly and gradually. Little horse today, let's see. So you just keep going. Detail work would be, if this is a painting, you're going to be able to see the side of the painting. Let's go ahead and knock in a side. It just gives everything a little more dimensional look. There we go. Eraser. Clean up all your unwanted areas. This could use a baseboard here. I put a baseboard down here. Gives it a richness, and also there's a plant that I threw in. You could put tables, you can put all kinds of things in these drawings. You don't want things to get too crowded. A couple of ghosts, or you could have 100 ghosts. There's that thing of less is more, but then there's more is more. You can't, find that mid ground and do one or the other. It's hard to, if you filled it up with 100 ghosts. Once you put this black line down, you're done. I mean, you can't come in and draw a ghost on top of it easily. It's not going to work. And you just keep going. You keep studying this. You keep thinking about it. Back away. You don't want the contrast to be too strong from one value to another. Go ahead and pencil. Notice the black line is really going to pop. It's going to pop forward your form. And then all of the flooring really recedes back in space. So, if I'm going to point out too, this is something I'll see, you want to create a rhythm. If you're going to have a series of really dark values that run through the composition, this is a large, even though it may be a dark room, we say in our mind it's a dark room, but then when we look at it, it just looks like a black square, and it's going to pop out, come forward, and what do you do to resolve that? How can you, does it work, or do you need to balance that dark shape somewhere else in the composition? How are you going to do that? So, any questions? Send me your questions. A little dark here. What happens is this dark begins to, of these branches and leaves and things that are going on this flower pot, starting to balance this shape here, okay? We put one here, one here, one here, one here, one here, it may not work. So, but if you create a kind of a movement, a rhythm, that this rhythm right here begins to repeat the angle of the room itself, same way over here, this shape begins to balance out with this shape, this organic repeats itself in this organic form over here. So you want to look at that as we're working. These are finished drawings, taking it to another level from what we've done in the past. There have been quite a few exercises, and from here on out we're going to do really finished out drawings. Okay, that's it. Bye-bye.